We are 5 gyms deep now, and we are well and truly past the halfway point here. We're starting to see some of the more minor story threads wrap up, and some of the major story threads really start to pick up some steam, because with only a few gyms left, we got a lot of ground to cover. So it's time to find out, how long does it take to get to the 6th gym in every Pokemon game? Let's kick this off with...
If you guys don't know what Pokemon is, you're in need of some serious remedial toy education.
We make our way into the Fuchsia City Gym, where we get a little maze made from invisible walls. And I know what you're thinking, these walls are not invisible, I can very easily see them. But may I remind you that in 1999, pretty much everything in these games was invisible and very, very green. So this was not as easy as it looks. But we take on the Poison-type gym leader Koga with his level 37 Coughing, level 39 Muck, second level 37 Coughing, and level 43 Wheezing, who goes all Chaozu on us and uses self-destruct, but luckily we still got Duck, so it's all good. But we win the battle and earn our Soul Badge and the TM4 Toxic. We head out of the gym, and look, I know we could go straight to the Safari Zone to grab the HM for Surf and also the HM for Strength, but we don't really need any of that right now, so instead, we're just going to fly straight back to Celadon to do a little bit of shopping. We head up to the roof where we find a couple of vending machines and grab ourselves some fresh water, which heals up to 50 HP to your Pokemon, which begs the question, what the hell is going on with potions? Like, why does a bottle of water heal 50 HP and a potion, which is designed to heal your Pokemon, only heals 20 HP. Even a super potion only heals 50 HP, which is the same as water, but costs like 700 Pokedollars. What the hell, Game Freak? This is some snake oil bullshit. Anyways, we don't actually need to heal our Pokemon. We just want to give it to this guy over here, who is guarding the entrance to Saffron City and is feeling quite parched. He lets us go through and says he'll share the water with the other guards, so now we can go wherever the hell we want. We head straight to the center of town where we find a big old building with a whole bunch of rocket grunts. It turns out to be the head of the Sylph Company, a name you may remember from the Sylph Scope that one time, and Team Rocket are back at their old shenanigans. Now this is another one of those places that every 10-year-old got lost in for about a month, but luckily for us, in my old age, I know exactly where to go. So we start by heading up to the 10th floor where we grab the TM4 Earthquake, which is possibly the best attack in Gen 1. Comfortably top 3. But we head back down to the 5th floor where we find a little teleporting tile thing that teleports us to a room that we don't care about, but if we teleport back, then we can sneak around the corner and grab ourselves the card key, which will open every door in the building. We make our way back down to the 3rd floor where we use our new card key to open a single door and do the old teleporty trick to find Blue, who doesn't seem to care all that much about the whole hostile takeover thing going on, but he is keen for a battle. So we take on his level 37 Pidgeot, level 38 Gyarados, level 35 Growlithe, level 35 Alakazam, and level 40 Venusaur. After the battle, one of the Sylph guys thanks us for our help by giving us an underleveled Lapras, which we're gonna name Bellady. We continue on and up to the top floor, where once again we run into Giovanni, who is understandably pissed that a 10-year-old keeps messing with his shit. But we take down his level 37 Nidorino, level 35 Kangaskhan, level 37 Rhyhorn, and level 41 Nidoqueen. And then after the battle, the president of the Sylph Corporation thanks us by giving us a Master Ball, which is the first time we've seen one of these bad boys, so that's pretty cool. But we escape rope out of there and back to Fuchsia City, because we haven't actually been to the Saffron Pokemon Center yet. It's fine. We'll just fly there real quick, head up to the gym, and go straight through the doors with a time of 14 minutes and 38 seconds. Alright, let's see what's changed in... We take on Koga, who has swapped out his team of 2 Coughings, a Muck, and a Wheezing for not 1, not 2, but 3 Venonats, and just to mix it up, a level 50 Venomoth. Now, the actual run here is pretty much identical to Red and Blue, with the only real differences being Jesse and James at the Sylph Co. and the battles. Like, Blue's team is totally different here, rocking a level 38 Sandslash, level 35 Cloyster, level 37 Magneton, level 35 Kadabra, and a level 40 Flareon. Giovanni's also mixed up his team here, but not quite as much, only swapping out his Kangaskhan for a level 35 Persian. But otherwise, we walk straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 15 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, on the very slight off chance that someone hasn't actually played through any of the Kanto games before, All I'm gonna say is that this may not be the last we see of Team Rocket, because for anyone playing the games for the first time, this was it. We did it. We beat the bad guys. And that was a pretty ballsy move from Game Freak to take them out this early in the game, because there isn't really much of a story in these games beyond the 8 gyms and gotta catch them all. So Team Rocket was really carrying the team in terms of moving the story forward. It does all pay off in the end with a nice little twist, but we'll get to that. So before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's check out... We make our way into the Cianwood City Gym, where there is not a whole lot going on. We battle a couple of trainers and push a couple of strength boulders around before the fighting type gym leader Chuck shows us just how big his dick is by throwing around a big ol' rock and breaking some shit. It's very impressive, man. Very intimidating. But we take on his level 27 Primeape, his level 30 Poliwrath. That's it? Okay, that's it. And we earn our Storm Badge and the TM4 Dynamic Punch. We head out of the gym and immediately have a quick chat with Chuck's wife, who gives us the HM for Fly, which we're going to teach to Kenya. We stop by the Cianwood Pharmacy, which looks identical to every other house in this game, and we grab the secret potion, which was the whole reason that we came here in the first place. We fly back to Olivine, make our way back up to the top of the lighthouse, and give the secret potion to Jasmine, who gives it to Amphi, who is instantly cured. So Jasmine heads back down to the gym, and so do we, where we walk straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 2 minutes and 53 seconds, which, I mean, we all knew this was going to be a pretty quick one. Let's try. We head into the gym where nothing's really changed. Chuck's still swinging his dick around and rocking his normal Primeape and Poliwrath. But outside the gym, everything is also exactly the same. We grab the potion, give it to Jasmine, who gives it to Amphi before we head to the gym with a time of 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So we saved 3 seconds by clicking A little bit faster. But yeah, there's not a whole lot going on here. Although I do really like the side quest vibes of the whole Amphi storyline thing that we got going on here, and I think it's a good way of moving the plot forward while also pushing the player in the right direction without just falling back on the old go to the next town to get the next gym badge trope that gets pretty repetitive pretty quickly. But I do wish there was a little bit more to this part of the game to break it up a little bit better. Like maybe they didn't need to squeeze 2 whole ass gyms into the Amphi storyline, but it's fine. Let's see what's going on in... We make our way into the Petalburg City Gym, where we have a whole bunch of trainers who all specialize in one particular battle style, like the Speed Room, or the Defense Room, or the Zero Reduction Room. But we take on the normal type gym leader, Dad, with his level 28 Slacking, level 30 Vigoroth, and level 31 Slacking to earn our Balance Badge and the TM4 Facade. And then after the battle, Awkward evolves into a beautiful Swampert. We get out of the gym and head next door to Wally's house, where Wally's dad gives us the HM for Surf, which we immediately teach to Awkward. We head east back through Oldale Town, where we can take a little shortcut by surfing across the river to get back to Moorville City, where now that we have access to surf, we can finally get to the whole eastern side of the Hoenn region. So we surf across this little inlet and run into Steven, who's keen for a chat. But not much else. So we make our way up north, where the grass is too long for the bike, so it looks like we're walking. And I don't mind taking it a little bit slower around here because it is absolutely gorgeous. And also we run into a wild Tropius, which is very lucky because I completely forgot that we were supposed to be catching one of these guys for a HM slave. So we catch the banana beard and name it Luigi. We continue up north, where we come across the Weather Institute that has been taken over by Team Magma. We battle a few Magma grunts and eventually Magma admin Courtney with her level 28 Nummel and level 28 Mightyena, and then they leave. The Weather Dudes thank us for clearing out Team Magma by giving us a cast form, which we don't get the option to name for whatever reason, so feel free to claim this name if you want to be a cast form that I'll never use. We head downstairs and have a quick nap to heal up our Pokemon because as soon as we leave the Weather Institute, we run into May, who is keen for a battle. So we take on her level 29 Numel, level 31 Grovyle, and level 29 Wailmer. After the battle, she gives us the HM for Fly, which we immediately teach to Luigi. We continue north and into Four Tree City, where we go straight to the gym, but something unseeable is in the way. So we head out east where we find Steven, who's also found something unseeable in the way. He lets us try out the Devon Scope, which reveals an invisible Kecleon blocking the road. So we take out the Kecleon, grab the scope, head back to Four Tree, deal with this Kecleon, and head straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 19 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's take a look at... We head into the gym to take on Dad, who swapped out his level 28 Slacking for a level 27 Spinder and a level 29 Lanoon. His Vigoroth has gone down from level 30 to level 27, and he's kept his level 31 Slacking. And after the battle, Sandy evolves into a Swampert. The actual run is pretty much identical to Ruby and Sapphire, except this time we name our Tropius Slime. We also take on Team Aqua at the Weather Institute this time, and then after the battle, there's this little extra bit of dialogue about Team Magma heading for Mount Pyre. But more importantly, we actually get to name this cast form, so we're going to call this little guy Ash. We have a quick nap before we take on Brendan with his level 29 Slugma, level 31 Grovyle, and level 29 Pelipper before we grab the HM for Fly and teach it to Slime. We make our way into Four Tree City where we do the whole Kecleon on the bridge thing and grab the Devon Scope before heading through the doors of the gym with a time of 21 minutes and 49 seconds. Now, this is a pretty cool little run between gyms because we get a new way to get around the region with Surf, which isn't really that big of a deal in most games, but Hoenn got a lot of water, so we're gonna need it. We also get a little bit more Team Magma / Aqua shenanigans at the Weather Institute and a very scenic new route to explore, but what I want to focus on here is Kecleon. Particularly because it's a super memorable part of the game, but also because it's the final roadblock Pokemon. We've had Snorlax in Gen 1, Sudowoodo in Gen 2, Kecleon in Gen 3, Psyduck in Gen 4, Crustle in Gen 5, Snorlax again in Gen 6, Tauros in Gen 7 and also Sudowoodo again, and Wooloo in Generation 8. And nothing in Gen 9. But the Pokemon Roadblock used to be a highlight in these games, but they have absolutely lost their way since Kecleon. See, Snorlax, Sudowoodo, and Kecleon were all roadblocks, but they were also rare Pokemon that you could actually catch, which made the whole thing both memorable and rewarding. And then Gen 4 went and screwed it all up with some Psyduck that you can't even catch. And that set the trend moving forward, which means that the glory days of the Pokemon Roadblock are long gone. Like, imagine the exact same setup with the Psyduck, but instead, after you give them the medicine, you get to battle and catch a shiny Psyduck. Or maybe instead of a Psyduck, make it a Munchlax, or something that's super hard to find anywhere else. It'd be a simple way to make something that's pretty boring into something people would actually look forward to in the game. But yeah, it didn't pan out that way, so instead, this was the last time that the Pokemon Roadblock was actually interesting. Also, I never noticed the invisible Kecleon shadow in the water, so that's pretty cool. Next games! Pokemon no Kuni ni touchak! We make our way into the Fuchsia City Gym where the invisible walls are more visible than ever, but we take on Koga, who's gone back to his red and blue team of a level 37 Coughing, level 39 Muck, second level 37 Coughing, and level 43 Wheezing. We head out of the gym and fly up to Celadon, but this time, instead of grabbing some fresh water, we grab some tea from this lovely old lady over here. We give the tea to the guards, head into Saffron and over to the Silphco, where we grab the card key and take on Blue before grabbing the Lapras, which we're gonna name Big Rocker. We take on Giovanni, grab the Master Ball, and head to the gym, where we go straight through the doors with a time of 14 minutes and 4 seconds. Next up,
メガブロックシリーズも新たな冒険の地へ新たな出会い新たなアクションメガブロックポケットモンスターダイヤモンドパールシリーズ
we make our way into the Hearthome City Gym where we have a pretty unique little gym puzzle here, because we have to do maths. Luckily I'm a genius and absolutely ace this 10-year-old's math quiz and make it all the way to the top to take on the Ghost-type gym leader Fantina, with her level 32 Driftblim, level 34 Gengar, and level 36 Mismagius to earn our relic badge and the TM4 Shadowclaw. We head out of the gym and immediately run into Cynthia, who recommends that we visit the library in Canalave City. So we fly back to Jubilife City and head out west, where we very, very slowly surf across the water towards Canalave. But before we get there, we run into Dawn's dad, who upgrades our Pokédex to display both genders now. And yes, there's only 2 genders in Pokemon, don't be weird about it. But you probably already knew that as of Gen 4, they added in some minor gender differences for a few Pokemon. But you probably also already knew that they were originally going to go a lot harder on this concept, but they scaled it back a bit to what we see today. But some of those beta designs are pretty cool. Anyway, we head into Canalave City where we run into Barry, who is keen for a battle. So we take on his level 31 Staravia, level 35 Prinplup, level 30 Heracross, level 32 Ponyta, and level 32 Roselia. After the battle, we head straight to the gym where we walk through the doors with a time of 5 minutes and 17 seconds. Let's see what's going on in... We make our way into the Pastoria City gym, where we still haven't caught up to Diamond and Pearl, but we take on the Water-type gym leader, Crush Awake, with his level 33 Gyarados, level 34 Quagsire, and level 37 Floatzel to earn our Fen badge and the TM4 Brine. Now, the first half of this run is pretty much the same as the last run in Diamond and Pearl, where we chase down the Plasma Grunt, we grab the medicine for the Slowpoke, give the medicine to the Slowpoke, and head up north to Celestic Town, but with one very important difference. This time, I ain't forgetting Defog. So, before we get too far north, we stop in at Solation Town, where we find the Solation Ruins. We head inside and find some cryptic symbols on the back wall, and if you haven't figured it out already, they tell us how to find Defog. So, we grab the HM for Defog, teach it to Paul, and now we can actually see where the hell we're going. But once we're actually in Celestic Town, things start to change even more, because this time, Cyrus shows up and is kind of a dick to Cynthia's grandma, and that's very not cool. So we take down his level 34 Sneasel, level 34 Golbat, and level 36 Murkrow. Granny thanks us with a HM for Surf, and then Cynthia shows up to recommend that we visit the library in Canalave City. And now we're all caught up, so we fly down to Jubilife City, surf out west, and head to the gym, where we go straight through the doors with a time of 25 minutes and 40 seconds. And this entire section of the game is so much better in Platinum. Like, everything actually makes narrative sense and pushes the story forward while keeping the player moving in the right direction to actually play the game. Whereas in Diamond and Pearl, they just give you some bullshit nothing reason to skip the Heart Home City Gym at the start, and then they give you a HM that you can't use until you've beaten the Heart Home City Gym, so then you gotta dick around backtracking for literally no reason, and it just completely destroys the momentum of the main storyline. So if you couldn't tell, I like Platinum better. Next games!
セブンイレブンからお正月に素敵なプレゼントポケモンカードゲームメッセージカードとキラキラカレンダーをお申し込みは無料ご応募いただいた方全員にプレゼントセブンイレブン
We head into the Cianwood City Gym where we've got a brand new puzzle. I mean, it's still pretty basic, you just battle trainers and turn off the tap, but we don't need strength anymore, so that's a thing. But we take on Chuck, whose Primeape has gone up from level 27 to level 29, and Poliwrath, who's gone up from level 30 to level 31. And there's nothing too exciting going on here, everything's pretty much the same as Gold and Silver, but it all looks a lot nicer. Like, the pharmacy kinda looks like an actual business rather than just some dude's house. And the lighthouse is very pretty. But we head through the doors of the gym with a time of 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Next up. セットもよろしく We make our way into the Driftvale City Gym where we have a little elevator puzzle where you gotta ride the platforms up and down to find your way through and then battle a bunch of trainers, and Froyo evolves into a beautiful Emboar. But we take on the ground-type gym leader Clay with his level 29 Krokorok, level 29 Palpitoad, and level 31 Excadrill to earn our Quake badge, and no TM just yet, because Clay wants us to meet him outside of the Charged Stone Cave. So we head outside of the gym where we make our way out west and run into Bianca, who is keen for a battle. So we take on her level 26 Herdia, level 26 Panpour, level 26 Mashana, and level 28 Servine, and then after the battle, she gives us the HM4 Fly. We continue up north where we find Clay, who clears out the Garvantula webs blocking the cave and then gives us the TM4 Bulldoze. We head into the Chargestone Cave and immediately run into ninjas? I'm pretty sure these guys are ninjas, but they take us to see N, who's like 4 steps away. N tells us that the ninja dudes are part of the Shadow Triad, and that Getsus has hired them to spy on us or something, I don't know, and then he just kinda walks off. But we make our way through the cave and push some floating rocks around, and then the ninjas turn up again to take us over a bridge that we probably could have just walked over, but it's fine. But we battle a few plasma grunts that were just kinda hanging out in the cave before we find N again, who is keen for a battle. So we take on his level 28 Boldor, level 28 Joltik, level 28 Clink, and level 28 Ferroseed. After the battle, N's kind of a sore loser and starts cracking the sads, but Bianca and Professor Juniper turn up, and then N is kind of a dick to the professor, but she's pretty chill about the whole thing, so then he storms off like a toddler. We head out of the cave and into Mistralton, where we meet Professor Juniper's dad, who upgrades our Pokedex, and this seems weirdly familiar, but he introduces us to the gym leader Skylar, who asks us to come to the top of the Celestial Tower. So we follow her up north and make our way up the tower, where we battle a whole bunch of trainers, but eventually we make it to the top, where we find Skylar, who invites us to ring the Celestial Tower bell. We ring the bell, and apparently we did a good job of it, so she heads back down the tower, and so do we, where we go straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 38 minutes and 56 seconds. Let's see what's changed in...
モンコレ革命始動伝説のポケモンがハイパーサイズシリーズで降臨新たなモンコレワールドの扉が開くモンスターコレクション
We make our way into the gym where we have a brand new gym puzzle where instead of platforms that go up and down, we've got conveyor belts that go side to side. But also, it's dark now. And I actually much prefer the updated version here. I feel like it fits a lot better with the whole mining theme that we got going on here. But we take on Clay, whose Krokorok has gone from level 29 to level 31. He's swapped out his level 29 Palpitoad for a level 31 Sandshrew, and his Excadrill has gone from level 31 to level 33. We make our way out of the gym, and before we get too excited, Clay wants to show us the Pokemon World Tournament. So we head down south of Driftvale, where we find a bunch of shit that was not here in the first games. But Clay takes us inside the main building, where Hugh and Sharon have already signed up to battle. So we follow along and join the tournament. We have a quick battle against Hugh, which puts us through to the second round, where we have a quick battle against Sharon, which puts us through to the final round, where we face off against Colrus, who we haven't seen since the whole Crustle in the Desert thing. But we win the battle, which means we win the whole tournament. And as much as this place is legitimately a heap of fun to just dick around with and battle all the different trainers and gym leaders and champions, we don't have time for this shit. So we head outside where a sketchy plasma grunt is running off to the docks. So we follow him onto a big old boat where we get ambushed by a whole bunch of plasma grunts. We battle a few grunts and then team up with Sharon to battle a few grunts, and then team up with Hugh to battle a few grunts. And also Rushfelt evolves into a beautiful Emboar. After a whole bunch of battles with a whole bunch of grunts, eventually Zinzolan turns up and pulls out the old Shadow Triad ninja trick and yeets us off the boat and back to the boardwalk. Hugh runs off and Sharon follows, so we ignore them both and head north towards the Chargestone Cave. But before we get there, a mysterious Pokemon appears. And then our old mate Rue turns up and tells us all about Cobalion and the Swords of Justice, and none of this is really all that important, so we head into the cave where we find Bianca, who explains how the floaty stone things work. But luckily, we were literally just here, so we got this. We head through the cave all the way to Mistralton, where we finally meet Professor Juniper, who gives us a Master Ball for some reason. She introduces us to Skylar, who gives us the option to either head to the gym or check out the Celestial Tower, which we kind of just did in black and white, and as much fun as that was, we're gonna go straight to the gym where we walk through the doors with a time of 28 minutes flat. Now this is a solid run between gyms. We tick pretty much every box you could want to tick here. We got narrative progression with the Shadow Triad, we've got character development with N in the Chargestone Cave, we got a rival battle with Bianca, we got legendary encounters, we got a whole ass cave with a whole ass tower to explore, both of which are fairly unique in their design and whole aesthetic vibe. And we even get actual differences from the original games, with Black 2 and White 2 completely revamping everything instead of just the lazy copy-paste vibes that we've been seeing in the mid-game of some of the other generations. So basically, Gen 5 is awesome and everyone is stupid for not buying it when it came out and making it the worst selling generation of all time. Next games!
Pokemon Get TV
世界初のポケモン専門テレビ局ポケテレブラヘヘ毎回地域やゲームで盛り上がってプレゼントゲットポケモンをとことん楽しもうもちろん最新ゲームポケットモンスター XY をはじめ
We make our way into the Lumio City Gym where we have a pretty unique little gym puzzle because it's
Who's that Pokemon?
They are leaning so hard on nostalgia in this generation, but we take on the electric-type gym leader Clement with his level 35 Emolga, level 35 Magneton, and level 37 Heliolisk to earn our Voltage badge and the TM4 Thunderbolt. We head out of the gym and immediately receive a holo clip from Professor Sycamore inviting us to the Lysander Cafe. So we head to the Lysander Cafe where we find the Professor and Lysander. But what's he doing at the Lysander Cafe? Lysander tells us all about how awesome he is, and how he's going to make everything great again, and how everybody else sucks. And I know this is supposed to be satire, but it's getting a little bit too close to reality at the moment. Let's move on before this gets too political. We head out of the cafe and get another holo clip from Trevor to let us know that the friends are making their way towards Lavere City. So we rollerblade our way through Lumio City and meet up with Trevor and Serena is keen for a battle. So we take down a level 35 Meowstic, level 37 Chestnut, and level 35 Absol before the rest of the friends turn up, and we make our way through a spooky forest until we find the Scary House, where some guy tells us a fairly lame story that doesn't really have anything to do with anything. And I don't know if I'm missing something here, but this bit was really weird. Although he does ask for a tip at the end, which really caught me off guard, because there's not really much of a tipping culture in Australia, because we just pay our workers properly. But anyways, we keep moving north and into Lavere City, where we go straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 9 minutes and 38 seconds. Now, I'm not the only person in the world who thinks that these games feel unfinished, but in this little bit of the run, we also get a nice little example of how they also kind of feel like a first draft. Like, this was not supposed to be the final version of the game, because in any other generation of Pokemon, if you've got a little spooky house or a building or whatever, it's probably gonna either be relevant to the plot, like with Lavender Tower, or have something to do with a specific Pokemon, like Rotom in the old Chateau. But this ends up feeling like some generic placeholder dialogue that could be from any other random crappy game, and has no connection to Pokemon in any way, which makes me wonder, why was it even included in the first place if it just feels like a first draft that was never revised? Look, X and Y can be a lot of fun, but the quality of these games just took an absolute nosedive at this point in the franchise. So let's go back in time and check out...
黒いメガレックーザがアルセウスがギラティナがたくさんのポケモンたちが限定シールでお出まし今だけ揃う22種類
We head into the Petalburg City Gym, where we have the same old themed room gimmick as the original games, and Gym Leader Daddy's gone back to his Ruby and Sapphire team, but he's lost a few levels. We head out of the gym and immediately run into Wally and his dad. Wally's dad gives us the HM for Surf as usual, but this time, instead of actually using the HM, Wally just sort of escorts us off to Moorville. We do get a cute little moment between the two dads, which I appreciate, so that's pretty cool. But after Wally drops us off in Moorville, we keep heading out west, where everything is pretty much exactly the same as in Ruby and Sapphire. Except for the fucking legendary encounter that just comes out of nowhere, where Steven's like, hey, you want to ride this mythical dragon and go find another mythical dragon? And also, we'll team up for a battle against Team Aqua. And also, Diddly J's going to evolve into a Blaziken. And also, I'll give you this Mega Bracelet for no reason. And also, you get a free dragon at the end that you can, like, fly around on whenever you want. Does that sound good? Do you want to do that? Let's do that. So we do all that, and then we name our new Latias Zoomy Zoomy. We continue up north, grab a Tropius, name it William, take down Team Aqua at the Weather Institute, grab a free cast form, name it Hybrid Batman, have a nap, take on May, head into Fortree, do the Kecleon thing, head back to Fortree and straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 27 minutes and 32 seconds. Next up!
今ポケットモンスターワクワク進化シリーズを買うと 3DS LL が当たるんです。詳しくはポスターのあるお店で
We make our way into the trial, where we have to complete an audio quiz where you gotta identify the sounds and battle a few bugs. But we take on the totem Vicavolt and its SOS partner Chargerbug to complete the trial and earn our Electrium Z before Sophocles shows us a little dance. Marlene is pretty stoked about the whole thing, so he gives us the Steelium Z as well. And also a mask to pass on to Professor Kukui that looks exactly like the Masked Royale's mask, which is weird, because those are two totally different people. But we head out of the trial and make our way towards Melee City, where we find Kukui squaring off with a couple of Team Scullions. We meet Guzma, who is apparently the leader of Team Skull, and he reckons that this whole trial thing is stupid, and that the island trials are all pointless, and that Z moves are lame. Oh my god, I think I agree with Team Skull here. But we take on Guzma with his level 31 Golisopod and level 30 Ariados, and then after the battle, we give Kukui the mask, and Kukui gives us the Primarium Z, which will give us a whole new Z move for Primarina. So we head down south where we find some rocky terrain, where Hapu turns up to give us our newest ride Pokemon, Mudsdale. We take a pony ride through the rocks and all the way down to Tapu Village, where Hal shows us where the new Pokemon League is being constructed. But we ignore him and switch back to Tauros so we can Tauros charge our way over to the Ether House, where a couple of toddlers are keen for a battle. And this seems like a good time to test our new stupidly overpowered Spirit Bomb. But we take down the toddlers before Acerola turns up to reveal that she is the captain of the next trial. So we head outside where we find a couple of grunts messing with Lily. So we hit him with the old Genki Dama before we Tauros charge our way down to the old abandoned supermarket, where we go straight through the trial postings with a time of 15 minutes and 17 seconds. Let's see if anything's different in...
ポケットモンスターワクワク進学シリーズ昭和ノートから
We make our way into the trial where this time we get a little puzzle thing where you gotta spin the tiles to line up the charger bug to connect the electricity. And this feels a lot more like a classic Pokemon gym puzzle, so I like it. But we take on the totem Togedemaru, but not its SOS partner because we just one-shot it with Hydro Vortex. I'm beginning to think that these Z moves might be slightly overpowered. But we head out of the trial where not a whole lot has changed since Sun and Moon. Guzma swapped out his level 30 Ariados for a level 34 Masquerain, and the old Ultra Recon squad turns up to check out the new Pokemon League, but otherwise everything's pretty much exactly the same. But we head through the trial postings with a time of 17 minutes and 11 seconds. Now the most interesting part of this little run is definitely the introduction of Guzma. Not that Guzma is all that exciting, but there's not really that much else going on here, so I'll take what I can get. But I do like that we get a little something different with Team Skull. Instead of the overly dramatic world-ending threat that we usually have with the previous evil teams, don't worry, we'll get plenty of that in these games. But Team Skull specifically is mostly just a bunch of social outcasts that didn't quite make it in this whole island trial thing that we got going on here, and honestly, I kinda get it. But we'll have to wait till next time to see where that all goes, because now it's time to head all the way back to Kanto with...
ふわふわのドーナツに甘いチョコパッチリお目目に真っ赤なほっぺのピカチュウドーナツウィンターコレクション発売中ミスタードーナツ
We make our way into the Fuchsia City gym, and this time the invisible walls are actually invisible. Sort of. There's this little foggy mist thing wafting through the gym that kinda reveals them. But anyways, we take on Koga, who's got a bit of a mishmash of his previous teams, with his Muck from Red and Blue that's gone from level 39 to level 43, his Weezing from Fire Red and Leaf Green that stayed at level 43, his Venomoth from Yellow that's dropped from level 50 to level 44, and then he's added in a level 43 Golbat. And then after the battle, Steven evolves into a beautiful Venusaur. We head out of the gym and skydash our way back to Saffron City, where we go straight to the old Silphco, where we find Trace and Blue. And Blue wants a quick battle to make sure we're ready to take on Team Rocket. So we take down his Exeggutor and Charizard, and apparently that's good enough for him. Although I always thought that Blue should have a Blastoise here and not a Charizard, but it's fine. We head upstairs to grab the card key, and there's a small change here that I actually really like. Instead of your rival just kind of inexplicably wanting a quick battle during the whole Rocket takeover thing, this time we actually team up with Trace to take on Team Rocket, and he even uses the little Cubone from Love in a Tower, which is very cute. And I know double battles weren't a thing in Red and Blue, so even though I feel like this makes a lot more sense narratively, this literally couldn't have happened in those games, but I still like it better this way. Anyways, we make our way up to the top floor where we take on Giovanni, who's using pretty much the exact same team he has in Yellow, with his level 39 Persian, Rhyhorn, and Nidoqueen. We grab the Master Ball from the President and head up to the gym, where we go straight through the doors with a time of... Nope. Once again, we got a little problem here. Because we need a Pokemon that is at least level 45. And unfortunately, Brony is only level 40. Well, shit. Luckily, we can just pop into the old fighting dojo that's just next door to quickly grind up a few levels and grab ourselves a free Hitmonlee, which we're gonna name Digifreak. Unfortunately, all of that only actually got Brony up to level 42, but that is enough to use our 3 rare candies to get Brony all the way up to level 45 and head through the doors of the gym with a time of 26 minutes and 39 seconds. So let's check out
もっと情に訴えてポケモン勝ってちゃんと対価を示してこれで勉強頑張れる気がするここで使っちゃおう一生のお願い施設官サンタさん見てますか
We make our way into the Balloonlia gym, where we get a fairly unique little gym puzzle here, because it turns out that the fairy-type gym leader Opal is pretty keen to retire and is looking for a replacement. So this whole thing is just one big audition where we battle a few trainers and Opal throws out a few random-ass questions at us that either raise or lower our stats. I don't know, it's a pretty cool idea with a pretty bad execution, to be honest. But we take on the fairy-type gym leader Opal with her level 36 Weezing, level 36 Mawile, level 37 Togekiss, and level 38 Gigantamax Alcremie to earn our fairy badge. Yes, it's literally called the fairy badge, and the TM for Draining Kiss. But unfortunately, we don't cut it as the new Balloonlia gym leader. We make our way out of the gym and immediately run into Opal, who escorts us back to Hammerlock, where she runs into Bede, who is apparently exactly what she's looking for in a gym leader. So Bede accepts the job, and the two head back to Balloonlia. So we keep heading out east, where we run into Sonia, who is keen for a chat. But she's interrupted by a big explosion at the Hammerlock Stadium. Leon turns up and the two of them head off to go check out the whole exploding stadium thing, so we ignore them and keep heading out east where we run into Hop, who's keen for a battle, so we take down his level 34 Trevenant, level 35 Snorlax, level 35 Boltund, level 37 Rillaboom, and level 34 Heatmore. After the battle, we head up north where we have a pretty cool little route with some old ruins and a whole bunch of phallics running around through these little tunnels in the walls. It's a pretty cool little route. Unfortunately, there's a whole lot of nothing else going on here, so we keep heading up north and into Sirchester where we go straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 12 minutes flat. And once again, we continue the trend of everything looking really pretty with some cool ideas here and there, but ultimately, it's all just a little hollow. Don't get me wrong, there's some cool stuff in these games, but it's all jammed into the start and end of the games, which leaves the middle feeling, well, a little hollow. Next up... We make our way into the Heart Home City Gym where everything is exactly the same, even down to the maths. But we take on Fantina with the exact same team before we make the exact same journey to Canalave City, where we take on Barry with the exact same team before we walk through the doors of the gym with a time of 4 minutes and 31 seconds, which is actually a little bit faster than the exact same run in Diamond and Pearl. But let's wrap this up with...
Pokemon Kids! Pokemon の新たな仲間たちと素敵な思い出を作ろうポケモンゲットだぜ集めて楽しもうポケモンキッズ2月27日発売
Now we've got another pretty unique gym test here, where you've got to talk to a whole bunch of people around the town to try to get a few hints on how exactly to order the secret dish, and they're all keen for a battle. But that does mean that Spider Rider evolves into a hideously ugly Skeledirge. And spoiler alert here, but the secret dish is a medium serving of grilled rice balls Fire Blast style with a fresh lemon on the side. Which honestly sounds pretty good, but we take on the normal type gym leader Larry with his level 35 Kamala, level 35 Dunsparce, and level 36 Staraptor that is a normal and flying type that turns into a pure normal type when it puts on its little hat. Now we all know that we can't just keep bailing straight to every single gym, ignoring literally everything else. And eventually, we were always gonna have to actually, play the game properly. But today is not that day. 3, 2, 1, and go! We head out north over the bridge and bang a right at the fork to make our way up the hill where everything starts to get a little bit chilly. But now there's a big old mountain in the way, so we take the long way around the mountain and follow the snow path all the way up to Montenegro, where we go straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 3 minutes and 46 seconds. So let's go back through everything and see how we went. Starting with... Crystal with just 2 minutes and 50 seconds, followed by Gold and Silver with 2 minutes and 53 seconds, and then Heart Gold and Soul Silver with 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Then we have Scarlet and Violet with 3 minutes and 46 seconds, followed by Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl with 4 minutes and 31 seconds, Diamond and Pearl with 5 minutes and 17 seconds, and then X and Y with 9 minutes and 38 seconds. In the double digits here, we have Sword and Shield with 12 minutes flat, followed by Fire Red and Leaf Green with 14 minutes and 4 seconds, Red and Blue with 14 minutes and 41 seconds, and then Yellow with 15 minutes and 12 seconds. Sun and Moon took 15 minutes and 17 seconds, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon took 17 minutes and 11 seconds. Next up is Ruby and Sapphire with 19 minutes and 2 seconds, followed by Emerald with 21 minutes and 49 seconds, and Platinum with 25 minutes and 40 seconds. Then we have Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee with 26 minutes and 39 seconds, followed by Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire with 27 minutes and 32 seconds. And then for the first time ever, we have the Generation 5 games coming out at the top of the list, with Black 2 and White 2 with 28 minutes, and Black and White with 38 minutes and 56 seconds. So let's chuck all of that on the graph and see how we went. Now overall, this has been our shortest run on average, which isn't really all that surprising because in pretty much every generation, we're seeing a few of the minor storylines start to wrap up to make way for the big finale set pieces of the final few gyms, like the Rocket storyline in Gen 1, or the Amphi storyline in Gen 2, or the Wally storyline in Gen 3, or the Bead storyline in Gen 8. We're starting to get the little stuff out of the way to make room for the big boys. It's the calm before the storm. Also, can we just ignore Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee over here? It's really skewing my data. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you next time.